Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum to anyone who might be tuning in this short reflection, and hello as well to anyone else who may be tuning in. So we have now passed the month of Muharram, and I just wanted to have a small reflection on our education system. I teach young people. I've been teaching for nearly 20 years. And what I see in young people of all ages is that they are highly stressed. They have many exams to do from the age of 6 upwards, and their lives are parcelled out across different days. Everything is scheduled according to specific times, and there's not a lot of time for creative thinking, for want of a better way of putting it. And this is something that I wanted to touch upon with regard to, again, what we are as human beings. Today's education systems, most of today's education systems, maybe there are some exceptions, narrow down the human being to a specific criteria that human being has to fulfill. In short, from a young age, you have to learn to perform. And the subliminal message is that if you do not perform, you're going to mess up your future. You're going to mess up your life. So the point becomes not about what it is to be a human being, certainly not about the spiritual dimensions of the human being, the soul dimensions of the human being, but rather how well can you perform? How well can you jump through the hoops that we are setting up? And some of the young people I have taught have been surprised that I don't always support the system in which I am teaching, because they assume that if I'm teaching within this system, then I must be a part of that system. In general, I would say over the decades, again going back to at least the 1980s, when the primary concern of Western cultures has been economic growth, the issue of human experience, what it is to be a human being, has not been of any concern. Students are there to become components, as I've said before, of economic growth, of the economic system. And the schedule that is required to be followed to become a part of that economic system is demanding to the point of bringing our young people to a breaking point. Our young people are mentally struggling under relentless stress and anxiety. And this is just getting ignored, because it's like, well, okay, yes, you're having a little bit of a meltdown today, but at the end of the day, you just got to do the job. Or, yes, I can see you're showing signs of cracking, or you're showing signs of not coping so well. I can see that you feel you're struggling to keep your head above water, but we'll just pass over that, and we will just continue to try to coax you and push you to go down this route where you're not actually you anymore. You are not actually you anymore. You are someone who has been designed by the education system, which your parents have to comply with. You are being designed by your education system. And who you are is what this system defines you as. And you want 5 minutes to have a reflection, to write a poem, to write a story. You want 5 minutes to delve into the spiritual realms, to experience the spiritual component of who you are as a human being. Sorry, we can't allow you 5 minutes because we've already got that scheduled out for you. That 5 minutes has already been planned out for what you should be doing. And it seems that it's got worse over the decades. That when I was a child, before I went to secondary school at the age of 11, I didn't have homework. We didn't have homework. You had time to play, you had time to engage your imagination, you had time to develop your social skills. A minority of countries do have this, but I would say a tiny minority. The rest of the world, everyone is on the point of psychologically drowning. Everybody is on the point of psychologically suffocating and just trying to keep their head above water and trying not to drown and trying not to suffocate. And perhaps there might be a few humorous jokes thrown in by the child, some ironic jokes thrown in, because they know very well, they are very aware of how they are being expected to perform within this system, and they are very aware about what this system is. But they're surrounded by too many people who feel it's just their job to enforce this system on the child and to make sure the child goes through it with top grades and coming out and entering into the job market and so on and so forth. And where does it lead to? What will we have achieved by the end of this if we live 60, 70 years? Is that the reason why we were born? We were born into this world in order to fulfill those criteria. We need to allow space, mental space, psychological space, spiritual space, to be able to experience what it is to be a human being, to allow our children to experience what it is to be a human being. And for people who claim to follow a religion, it seems that the connection to the spiritual worlds is of no consequence for many people following a religion. An actual, living, experiential connection to the spiritual worlds from the spiritual component of who you are, not even considered. It's not even relevant. We are going to be religious in terms of looking religious on the outside. We just tick that box, and then for the rest of it, we will just follow what everybody else is doing. Not even going to think about the unseen for even a couple of seconds. So, in a sense, the human soul is being hijacked. And the child has to embark on this journey down this conveyor belt, and very diligent parents are anxiously trying to cajole their children down this conveyor belt without even knowing who their children are. And the children are struggling to comply and struggling to comply. My question is, comply to what? Who has decided that this is an education? Who has decided that this is how you should be educated? Again, if we are claiming to follow the prophets, the Ahlul Bayt alayhum salam, we need to take a step back and examine what education is. Examine what we are doing in terms of attaining knowledge. And we need to ideally devise new systems of education based upon a spiritual tradition that cultivates the psychic, psychological, and spiritual dimensions of the human being, which are not optional dimensions. They are what we consist of. And I'll give you an example where a young student that I was teaching was having a lot of disturbing dreams, very stressful schedule, but a lot of disturbing dreams that were clearly pointing out that her soul can see the dark side of this system. Her soul is telling her what is wrong with this system and what it is all about and where it's going. But who she is in the daytime is just someone that has to comply. A disempowered person who has a name, but who she is, does she even have time to be who she is or to find out who she is? No time. Just get on with it. Just get on with it. Just get on with it. Tick the boxes. So this is one of my short reflections for this month, and inshallah I hope to post up more. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for listening.